Hey everyone, hope you all are well. We are kicking things off today by priming the eye area, and I'm using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion, but any one that you have at home will do. You want to prime the eyes so that your eyeshadows go on nice and smoothly, they blend nice and easily, and last all day long too. And I'm just using a Wet n Wild brush to blend this product all around the eye area, anywhere that I'm adding shadow, but you can of course use your fingers, and the warmth of your fingers will actually help melt that product into the skin. So today I'm using the Urban Decay Ultra Violet palette. I copped that I'd actually only uploaded a couple of tutorials using this palette, so I figured I'd film another. And the first shade I'm taking is called Hacked. So this is a lovely matte mauve eyeshadow which acts as a nice transition shade for us today. I'm applying this shadow with the tapered blending end of the double-ended brush that comes with this palette. And this eyeshadow is lovely and opaque, as you can see. It's blending out really easily. I've no fallout from this shade, and it just performs really well, and it doesn't fade throughout the day. So I'm just adding one layer of this shadow before moving down along the lower lash line. I'm using the small bullet shaped end of that double-ended brush just to sweep some of this eyeshadow down here now. It's up to you how much you want to blow it out. If you want a really smoky look, apply with the bullet end and then diffuse with the tapered end of the brush. Next then, I'm taking the shade Optimized, and this is a gorgeous cool lavender shade that has a satin finish to it. It's like a pastel kind of blue tone purple. It's a really beautiful shade, and I'm just adding this into the crease. I'm layering it over that hacked shade, but naturally making sure not to cover it up, and I'm just using circular motions and then windshield wiper motions, and then I'm flicking the eyeshadow out as usual. So I do this out towards the tail of my brow just because I prefer the elongated look to shadows on my eyes as opposed to rounding them off. I just think it suits my eye shape better. So I'm then using the bullet end now just to sweep this down along the lower lash line, going from outer to inner corner, just sweeping back and forward and making sure that it connects on that outer edge. Now I'm taking the shade Warning, once again on that double-ended brush. This is a vibrant pinkish purple shade that kind of has a bluish undertone to it, and it's another frosty finish. I wouldn't usually apply textures like this in the crease. I usually keep them to the lid, but it's summertime, so anything goes. So I've started by using the tip of the brush, and I'm just sweeping the shadow onto the outer third of the lid, pushing it and fading it towards the center of the lid, and then I'm pulling it up into the crease and just using circular motions and flicking motions to blend that out. Once I'm happy then with how that looks, I'm flipping the brush around again, adding that shadow down along the lower lash line, fading it right from outer to inner corner just to give a nice pink pop. So I'm moving up the palette now, and I'm taking the shade Cyberpunk, which is a deep purple with a pink shift to it. This is quite a frosty shadow as well, and I'm using this to add a bit of depth. And this is predominantly a shimmery palette. There's maybe 3 mattes, a satin, and the rest are like pearlescent finishes or frosty finishes, but they all do work well together. So I've just been tapping this down with the bullet end because it'll pack on more colour, and then I'm using the blending end of the brush just to fade out the edges, and I'm repeating this process as many times as I like until I have the intensity that I desire. So I'm then also adding it down along the lower lash line, rounding it up then onto that outer portion of the lid, once again just to make sure that everything fades seamlessly together. I don't want any gaps on that outer edge of the eye. I'm going to clean up the lid now, and to do that I'm using this full coverage concealer from L'Oreal. It's in the shade 325, and I'm using a flat C-shaped brush just to pat and press this product onto the lid. And I'm not going for a cut crease look deliberately today. I just want to clean up the lid and use the concealer as a base for the next shadow to come, but the shape of that C-shaped brush, once it hits the crease, kind of does it for me, so we'll just roll with it. So next I'm taking one of my favourite shadows in the palette. It's called Lucid. It's a white that has a greenish shift to it, and it's a frosty finish. Now this shadow definitely works best with a setting spray, so I've used the Urban Decay Glow All Nighter setting spray, and this just allows it to adhere better to the lid, it limits fallout, and it ensures that you're getting the most out of the shadow. So then I'm taking a little more of that Warning shadow on my brush. I'm using the tip of that brush just to buff along the outer portion of the eye, just towards the centre of the lid, and I'm overlapping this with that Lucid shade just to make sure that they fade nicely into one another. Next then, I'm taking the shade Trippin', which is just a light peachy shadow. It's got a satin finish to it, and I'm using a very light dusting of this shadow on a Sigma pencil brush just to add a bit of brightness to around the tear duct of the eye, and then I'm adding it in underneath the brow bone too, starting under the arch of the brow and then fading it towards the tip and tail. To line the eyes, I'm taking this PS Pro Miracle pencil. I've also added some of the Kiss Blowout lashes in the style Page Boy. So I'm just lining inside the waterline with this pencil, and it just gives a very subtle brightness to the waterline. It's kind of like the shadier waterline, but a little bit better. And then I'm using the Lashy Doll mascara from Lancome just to blend my own lashes in with the false ones, and also then to coat the lower lashes too. But then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It just gives a nice pop of colour for summer. If you found it helpful, please do let me know, and I'll catch you all really soon.